All right. My audio is working. I wanted to make sure that it's working because last time it was not. All right. I'm going to check and see if I can hear myself in the group because, as I said, had that happen before where it didn't record the sound and then. All right. Audio is working. I wanted to make sure that it's working. It's working. All right. So welcome, success creators. Today I am going to be talking about how to use Asana to manage teams and social media, especially if you have more than one business. If you're new here, then you only just found me straight through Success Doula, then you might think that I only have Success Doula, but I actually have two other companies. I have a FitFab websites. I've been a WordPress developer for over 20 years. And I have that where I work directly with clients, but then I actually had a business for the 20 years called Berkster Solutions, where I work directly with designers and helping them get the websites up for their clients. And on top of that, I also am an orgasm coach, and so I have my Own in Your Own business. So I have 4 different businesses that I have to manage, and using things like spreadsheets and Word docs are great for certain things, but when it comes to actually managing all of the different tasks and all of the different projects, not just in one company, but in multiple companies, I have learned a long time ago that having a good project management tool is essential. When I worked with the designers, which I still do occasionally, but not as much anymore, I basically only come in when they really need help and they can't find someone else to do it. But when I worked with them, like at one point in time, we could have 20, 30, 40 projects going on at the same time with just one designer. So usually I had about 50, 60 projects that I was in the middle of, and having that many projects and trying to manage everything through spreadsheets and things of that nature it just wouldn't work. In addition to that, some of those projects that I had weren't just for websites, but they also were for marketing. And I was managing social media platforms for different companies. At one point in time, I had several different insurance companies, and some of them had some of the same names. So it could be really, really easy to not notice if you were making mistakes if you use things like spreadsheets. So that's when I started getting into project management apps. Through the years, I've used a lot of different ones. I've used a bunch of them that are not even available anymore. There was one that was great that I loved, and I was very sad when it went away. But then Asana came out quite a while ago. I don't even remember when. I didn't like it at first, and so I used to use a different one. But several years ago, I kind of decided, let me try this Asana again, see if I like it. And it turns out that they had done some major improvements, and they continuously improve. And so that is now my platform of choice when it comes to project management. So that was a little bit of backstory. If you're part of the Success Doula group, then you might have seen the post on Tech Tuesday that someone had posted about managing social media for different accounts. And so that's what this training is going to be about. I have decided to not have everything set up and then show you, how I set it up. I'm actually going to go with you and set everything up with you. And I think that sometimes, especially when you're learning the new programs, especially Asana has a bunch of little tricks. And when you go in and you've already set everything up, you sometimes forget some of those little things and little tweaks that you do that make things easier. So I'm just going to do this as a kind of do it with me kind of scenario, and I'll explain what I am doing. You also may know that Success Doula, as of the timing of this video, is actually a brand new business. And so it's time for me to set up my Asana for the Success Doula. I have been doing everything underneath my FitFab websites account, but now I have a fresh, clean account that we can set up, and you can see how to do it from like start to finish, and some of the tricks and things that I've learned along the way that I think make things easier. All right, so without further ado, let's switch over to Asana. So this is my new account. I do want to mention that I have a branded email, right? So I'm using my email at thesuccessdoula.com, and this is kind of an important thing when it comes to Asana. If you're using a Gmail, you will be limited on the kinds of projects and the one thing that's important is teams that you can create. And so this is, as I said, this is a really important thing, because when you're going to be managing more than one business, you can put it all underneath one domain, email domain, which is what I did with FitFab websites and also with Berkshire Solutions. But for now, and also with Owning Your Own, so I have them all on Asana actually. But for this, for right now, I did go in and set it up already to be a workspace with the sorry, I was switching over to you. So I did set it up to be a workspace with the successdoula.com. If you don't know what I mean, when you sign up, if you don't use a branded email, you will only have this right here, and you'll only have one main team, and then you can create your projects. But if you go over to your profile, you'll see right here that I have the Success Doula and FitFab websites. And so what I did, and just in case this happens to you, if you get invited into another domain, I invited the Success Doula from my FitFab websites, and this is the way it looked when I started. And so there, as you can see right here, I can't add any teams. That is because my account right now, I am in the workspace of FitFab websites. I am not in my own workspace of the successdoula.com. And so the only thing I can do is add projects into this one team. I did not record how to set it up as far as getting the new workspace, but it isn't that tremendously difficult. Right here it had FitFab websites, and then it actually said create a workspace. And so I did that. I went through the steps. I said that it was a company, that I owned the domain, all of the, pretty much basic things that you would need to do. And then I ended up with my new workspace right here. And as you can see, there is this option now to be able to add team. And this is where it's going to be important when you have multiple companies. So, or even if you are just one person right now with multiple social media accounts, but you are going to be adding in new team members. So what I would do is actually create a new team for each team member. Team member number 1. And then what happens is then everything that you do for this team member can reside in here. Now, one of the cool things about, I'm turning off my phone, even though that was one of those alert things. Okay, sorry about that. So the cool thing about having the team with the team member and with Asana in general. So let's kind of break down the platform. So there's teams, and then within teams, you create projects. And then under each project, you create tasks, right? That's pretty explanatory. Your team is like your organization. The project is the project you're working on, and the tasks are all the things you have to do for your project. So with this, you would be able to add your team member or your virtual assistant, whoever it is that is working with you, and everything that you put in here, they will have access to. So let's say that we are going to do a blank project right now for our team member, and this is going to be, I would say like Instagram, and then I set everything up as a list. If you, with exception of, which I'll do next actually, you can select your icons right here, and you can select your colors. I usually do that a little bit later. It just depends on what is going on. And once I kind of set everything up and have an idea of how everything is working. So that's how you set up a new project. It's pretty simple. So you could do ideas, and then you would do templates, and then, which I'll get into templates in a second, and then you will do to do, and then you will put scheduled. All right, so if you have an idea for your Instagram, then you can go in and drop it there. But one of the things that I love doing, and I'm going to set this up right now, is because I need to do it, is I create a brain dump. And I'm going to put TSD brain dump, so that way I have multiple brain dumps from all my different companies, and that way I can be able to put this in. Actually, I can just put in his brain dump right here. This will be once I'm in the workspace of the Success Doula. This is the brain dump that is there. One of the things I like to do, because I find it very fun and cool, is I add emojis to my projects because they make them stand out later. So I always use this little brain emoji. Where am I? Right here. And I put it at the front, and that way it says brain dump. And then what I do, let's see, I'll just like little gear icon. It doesn't really need to have a color. So now I have this brain dump. I literally just, anytime I think of any kind of task, I'm out driving around, because one of the cool things about Asana is that it does have an app for both Android and for iPhone. It's got a web app. They're everywhere. So whoever your team members are, there is going to be a way for them to be able to access Asana as well as yourself. So when you're out and you have an idea, you drop it over here. And so say I have an idea about Instagram, and it is going to be about quote from Will Smith. And then I put in the quote. This is the quote, right? So, all right, that just lives there. And then once a week, I go through my brain dump, and then I organize everything. Now, if this is something that you know that you want to do, then the cool thing about this is, as I said, the task can live in multiple projects. So even though right now it is living over here in brain dump, I can actually move it out over into the Instagram with my team member, knowing that they are going to be doing it. Now, if this was like a master task in a master list, then I would put that on a different list, but this is just moving over from my brain dump. So now I'm going to take it out of the brain dump. You can see it is no longer there and is now in Instagram right here. I will say that if you do not assign people right away, what can happen is you will get some lost tasks in there. Unless you can remember exactly what you said, they will come up in the search. But if you don't have a task assigned to a person, at least to begin with, then sometimes you will find that you swear you wrote a task, but you can't find it, and it was because you didn't assign it to someone. But now that it's in the Instagram task, if I wanted to, I can now assign this to my new team member. And I can, get going on everything with that. So it is a typical task management system. There's going to be a due date. There's different projects. Now, I am going to just put this over in ideas because we have decided that we're not going to be doing this one right away. But instead, we are going to be doing, let's say we have another idea for making coffee. I just looked over to the side and saw my coffee there, right? And so now I'm going to say, post about a quick story on how I make my coffee. All right, so there's a feature in here called tags, just likely, and I do recommend this. You can do IG stories, right? And so now I have that tagged with IG stories. So anytime I want to do a search for any of the ideas that I had for IG stories, I would be able to click on this tag, and then everything that I have would come up with anything that I tagged with IG stories would come up here. I could see, oh, it hasn't been assigned to anybody. It's in the project's Instagram right here. All right. Maybe we do want to move it. So you can click over here. You see that it's in ideas, and now it's going to be your to-do. All right. I hope I'm not talking too fast. I know I do sometimes. All right. Let me also do a quick check and make sure that there aren't any questions on this. Wait, where was I? Hold on. Sorry about that. Okay, I don't see any questions right here. Okay, just checking to make sure. I realized I didn't have that window open at the same time, so now I do. All right, now I gotta get back over to my thing. Okay, all right, now I am ready here. Okay, so now that we have this, oops, did that move over? Okay, I wanted to move this whole thing. Okay, so now we have the story, we have this idea, we know that it's going to be to do. Quick thing, obviously you can add it to your team member, whoever that is. I don't have a team member added to this. Let me see, I will add, I'm going to add myself. Actually, I don't want to put my email address on it, just in case. But anyway, so let's just say that I added myself right there. And then, now it's assigned to the other person. I will just put this person, me. Okay, the cool thing about the list is that, they're very easy. You can see everything at a glance. You can drag and drop. So like once you, like say you wanted to move it in templates, or once it got scheduled, super simple to do. You can drag it in there. But one of the things that makes Asana really cool is that you can create your own kind of template. So if you find that you're doing the same kind of tasks with the same kind of projects with the same kind of tasks, you can create your templates of them, and there's a feature to be able to duplicate it. So I'm going to say IG story template, right? And so this, you would change the title of it, and then any of the details that you would normally do. For example, if this had been a blog post that I was doing, then I would put a link to my blog post template that I use to create all of my blog posts. Since this is a story, if you're using something like Trello or Canva to be able to create your content, you can just have a link right there. If you need to even put the username and passwords because you have to share it with your team member, you can do that. Although I do recommend having another project in here, which is team member 1 admin, right? Because otherwise you'll end up with a bunch of folders named admin, and you won't know which folder belongs to, or project belongs to which person. So I always have my admin yellow, and I have a list there. That's just my preference right here. If you notice, I didn't put an icon in here because when it's something that I don't access very often, I don't necessarily use the icons for something that access very quickly, because as you can see right here in your scanning, you can see the icon very easily, and that's why I like using them. You can use any icons you want for every single project. If you wanted to have an same icon for all of your admin, you could do that too. And now you have an admin, and what I do is I have an info section, and then I have a video tutorials section, because I work with clients, and so I usually have to record a bunch of looms or different little videos on showing them how to do something. And so I keep a list right here of everything on how to do it. The info right here, I put in, so like say I use Trello, and then I would put in my username and then a password and then a link to Trello.com, right? So that way it makes it really simple, and then my team member can just get in there real quick, see the username and password, and be able to log in and do all of the information that you want. Another really quick suggestion that I have for you is to have brand colors here. So I don't know about you, I hate always trying to look up and figure out what my brand colors are. And so I do, I would put like FE, which is, I think gray or light white. So like whatever the color is, and then like right now, my new one is Jazzberry Jam, but I can't remember the actual color of it. So I'm just doing, that's not right. I have no idea what that color is, but you can see what I mean. So you just put your different colors in there. They're very quickly accessible. And then you would do brand fonts. But actually, instead of brand fonts, I would actually be doing the name of the company. If you do have different companies, then you would want to make sure that you do that, because you can also just do a quick search for fonts, and then you would be able to see, oh yeah, that's the Success Doula, or my Own in Your O, or my FitFab websites. I would be able to then find my fonts very easily. But as I said, this is for working with your team member or your virtual assistant. So having this little section right here with the info, with all of the login information and your colors, your fonts, any other pertinent information is always going to be, needs to be accessible and easily. This is like a great way to organize it. Everyone knows where it is. If you ever have to update the password, you just change it right there. You don't have to send out emails and have the emails get lost. So that is definitely a time saver. All right, so back over here to the templates. So as I said before, if you're creating a template, you can have right here a description, or if, as I said, if a post and you have a story, or if you're using a file with your, like if you're using Illustrator and you have a file to be able to update the graphic, then that's where you'd want to do it. So then you would say right here, write caption. Right? Oh, so this is a story, so there wouldn't be a caption. So it would be make graphic, And then we would say, write, oh no, like if it's a video, you would like write captions for video, any of the things that you do. So like you could have an IG story graphic template, and you could have an IG story video template. You can do a Reels template. You can do all of those different things, have these, and then you could assign the different people. So maybe you have your VA do the graphic, but you're going to write the captions for the video. And then once it's done, then all you have to, if you know that this is what you're going to be doing, and this is just so this is really what I do. So, hold on. Where did I just put it? Making coffee. There we go. So my making coffee is here, and this is what I want to do. So then I actually just go to my IG story, I duplicate the task, and then this is what I would do, making coffee. And yes, I did like have a duplicate task right now, but it's not a problem. I just copy it over there, right here, right? And then I would fill in the information here, add my other information if I needed it. Oops, I thought I copied the content, but you can see it's pretty simple. And then I can just delete this task. When you're here, you can click over here, delete task. But if you notice, it says tab backspace. I use a lot of the shortcuts without thinking about it, and so you can just tab backspace. If you ever wanted to know what the shortcuts are, there is a where is it? They have like a little. Now why can't I remember? They have a shortcut to be able to look at what all the shortcuts are. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's not that. Okay. If you do need to change the name of the project, this is where you edit the project details, the color. You can duplicate the project. So if you set everything up for Instagram, and then you know that it's pretty similar to what you're going to be doing on Facebook or LinkedIn, then you can just duplicate the whole thing, the whole entire project, and then create that. And also, if you are doing blog posts, sometimes I find it's easier to actually have a project for each blog post. And so I actually have a template, an Asana project template for blog posts, and I have a different team specifically for my blog posts. And then I have my team members added to that blog post team. So I'll kind of show you what that is. So this would be my blog, right? TSD blog. And then I would create a template, and this is going to be, I just call it template. And then, wasn't there that one? Okay. So now I have my blog post template. And the reason why is that once you are doing a lot of time, like I hope you're reusing your content, right? So you're creating like one big content piece, and then you're having to create all the different things for it. So right here on the section, this would be for the website. This would be social media. And then I actually have the thing to write blog post. And then I usually go back in, like once I've created this, I usually go through, remove the word blog post, and actually put the name of the blog post, right? And so over here, I have my link to my blog post template, right? And then the website, create graphic for website. In my blog post template, I do have all of my like keywords, meta description, all of that stuff. I do find it's easier to have that on Google Doc. I have a whole Google Doc to be able to do that. And then when it comes to for the website, then I only keep track of the things I need to do that is not included on my blog post template. One of them is creating the graphic for the website, and then updating, creating the blog post, like so actually physically doing that. Underneath creating the blog post, I have update meta information, which includes your title, keywords, description, include any call to actions. That's what CTAs are, right? So you can see what I do this, and then I create the blog post. I don't have the thing for scheduling it because I'm the one that always does it when it's on the blog post, at least for right now. But if I did, I would put in scheduled the blog post, all of that stuff. And then when it's done, I just actually, I'm done with the whole whole thing. For social media, sorry, I kind of got lost with what I was saying. So I have like what I would be doing on Instagram. I spelled that wrong. What I'd be doing on Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, etc. So then once you have your subtask here, like say this is Instagram. So create graphic, right? And then this would be write caption, and then schedule post. And so like on my schedule post, I would have Publer.io because that's what I use for my scheduling. And then the cool thing here, so now this is like the blog post here. So for example, I don't have anyone working with me at this moment, but let's say I am going to do my new blog post right now. So I'm going to duplicate this template, and my new post is going to be how to use Asana for team members, right? Okay, so now I've created the new project, and when I'm over here in my blog, I now have my how to use Asana for team members. And you can see here that my create graphic is here. It's still loading everything up. Sorry. All of the tasks, it takes a second. So all of the tasks that were there in the template are already over here. And so now I could just go over, assign the new task to my new team member, and then I still have everything over here, right? So I assigned it to the new team member, but say she's not in here, right? So let's pretend like she's not in that team. What I can do is show right here where it is add to projects. And then I can actually do Instagram team member 1. And now this task, even though she doesn't have access to this team over here, she has access to this task, and it will show up over here. She's got create graphic. And so we actually want this to be in the to-do. It would have her name assigned to it, or his, right? So the cool thing about it is when it's in here, see how it has the title of the original project that it's on. So it's how to use Asana for team members, so she would know what it is. Any of the information, any questions you guys have, you guys can go back and forth on it. And then you don't have a ton of emails. I don't know about you, but like when people write team emails, you usually have a list of like 15 things that you want to cover because that's what came up. The cool thing about using Asana with the tasks and the project management is that you only talk about that particular task in here. So I will, even though I may have 15 things to discuss with my team member, I go to each task, right? This is the information. I'm sorry, I'm typing wrong. About the task. And so then it is there, and I could tag her in it, and then she would actually get a notification in her inbox for if there's messages that have been sent or you received. So you can do anything that comes into you. This would be right here. Any messages you sent would be right here going out. So I find the inbox and Asana to be really useful as far as being able to manage all of the different projects that I have. Other cool things, so if you do really like that board feature, so like a lot of times people don't like to see it like this, and say I created the graphic for the making the coffee, right? And let's say I'm going to grab one real quick. I'm just grabbing a random picture. It's loading up right now. So now if I go to board, I can actually see that the graphic was done. So already know I've got the graphical, board option here. So we've got the ideas, the templates, the to-do, and then you're scheduled. And so if now that this is actually in templates, I actually want to put it over in to-do, right? And then once I schedule it, then you can just move it over into scheduled. And so that's what's really cool about having a board. I'm going to do a new project right now, which is SM calendar. Hopefully I spelled that right. And now I'm going to actually select calendar for this. And you will see that there's a calendar here. So now I'm going back over to the making coffee we are going to assign it to me. I'm going to put a due date of tomorrow, and then this other Instagram graphic here for the blog post, I'm actually going to have the due date be on the 26th. So then when you go back over to the SM calendar, wait, I have to add the project, sorry. See, this is why I like, so if you don't see the projects or the tags here, you just go over here to the customize. This is one of the reasons why I like showing it live when I'm doing it, even though I do make some mistakes and I get a little bit distracted. But now you can see why my screen may look differently than your screen if I was just showing you what it is that I'm doing. So I want to add the project to SM calendar. And then what was this one? SM calendar, right? So now that they're labeled on SM calendar, and actually, if you wanted to, you could actually create a scheduled calendar if you want to be able to really see what if you're not using something like Publer, which is what I use, to be able to, do all of your social media planning. You can actually do your social media planning pretty easily here in Asana, and you see right now how everything is purple. That is because the Instagram is purple. If it had been, and so if I actually wanted, I probably would want Instagram to be pink, right? Because isn't Instagram pink? And then I could we'll do a new project right here, or here. I'm going to duplicate this project. So that's what we talked about. And then we're going to make this be Facebook. And so I'm going to change the color to blue so I can see that it's Facebook. I'll put that up here. You can have LinkedIn. And then over here to my Facebook, if you notice right here, none of the signees, due dates, projects, tags, all of that wasn't copied over. That is because when I went to do the duplicate project, I did not, I only did the description subtask tags, right? So I didn't do the other projects. I didn't do any of the task due date. I didn't do the assignee. If you want to, you can duplicate that as well. I just didn't do that for the sake of this, right? So now let's say I also have making coffee that I want to be over, like it's not done yet. We're going to actually put it in scheduled, and then we are going to do to do, but we're also going to add it over into the SM calendar, and we need that to be done on the 26th. Okay. So now if you go back over to the SM calendar, you can see right here that the pink, which is Instagram, the blue is the Facebook. I have the making coffee. Probably should have done, maybe switch these so that way they would be done on the same day. And now you can see how easy it is. Like if you want to move things around, change the due date, it's really simple by having that calendar view. Every board does have a calendar view as well. So you could do it straight in that board. But if you have like a master calendar with all of your social media things added to it, then it makes it easier to be able to see what your schedule is. Now, these are the due dates for making the graphics. These were not necessarily the published or the scheduled due date. So that's why for this SM calendar, you probably would want this to be your scheduled things. So once it became scheduled, so like right here for the making coffee, I have, and actually this would be, so like once the graphic is done, let's say I wrote the captions, and now it's about it being scheduled, and it's actually scheduled for Monday. And so that's the difference. So you just want to make sure that you are, if you can have multiple calendars if you need to have like an overview. But as I said, that's one of the really cool features about Asana is how the tasks can reside in multiple projects. So that way all of the information is there for you as well. I think I kind of covered everything, right? So I covered the list view, the board, the calendar, files, all of the files that are uploaded to this project will be here. After a while, this gets really, really big, but if you do want to see if anything has been uploaded, you can do that there. The messages, anytime you register your email with Asana, you can then forward the email into any project that you want. So every project will get an email, and once Asana receives an email from your it would have to be the email that you signed up with. From that email, they will actually, and you have it forwarded to this email address, it will actually end up in here, which is also really cool if you've got some information like from a client, or if you're collaborating with other people, but you on a project, but you don't have them added into your Asana, you can then forward in all of the different emails into that project as well. This is the overview. This is the free version. I don't have the paid version. I have used the paid version. It is actually really good, but sometimes when you're getting started, it's not necessarily the right option. So there's a few little things that you could play around with, but it's really, honestly, like once you start using it, it becomes really simple and easy. You can archive a project. So that's actually one of the things I wanted to say. So like now, let's say that this is my my blog post that I already did. I just archive it, and now it doesn't really show up here as my active blog things, but you can still get to it by showing the archived projects. So, all right, let me check over on the group and see if there are any questions. All right. I know this was fast, so this is obviously available for replay. You can pause it. If you come up with any other questions while you're doing it, let me know. And I guess that's it for today. Hopefully this helped you on using Asana to manage your teams and multiple social media accounts, and maybe multiple business accounts as well. All right. Bye, everybody. Let's see if I remember how to stop streaming. There you go. Bye.